Wubba lubba, yeah, wubba lubba dub dub, motherfuckers. Yeah, it's a quote from Rick Sanchez. You guys are Rick and Morty fans, so how you guys doing? It is I, everyone's favorite jack of all trades, with the foul mouth, Commodore Urban, and you can probably notice something different. Behind me, I have a technical side profile drawing of the Queen Mary, and I also have my Rebelle 1/5/70th scale model right here with me as well. And you're probably wondering why we have what is known as probably one of the most illustrious ships of the Art Deco age. Some of you probably say it was the Normandy. Well, yes, Normandy was probably the most daring ship of the 30s, but the most remembered ship of the 30s is the Queen Mary. Well, today I have a book review for you guys. That's right, I have another fucking book review. We're going to learn something new today. And the book I'm going to be reviewing with you guys is The Queen Mary. Her early years recalled by C.W.R.Winter. And on the back of the book it says, half a century ago, as Cunard's new superliner, the Queen Mary, nosed her way from the fitting out berth and down the Clyde to enter commercial service, young Ron Winter went to sea for the first time. The Mary captured the imagination of a nation with her luxury fittings, her awesome statistics, and then in service her rivalry with the great French liner Normandy for the coveted blue ribbon of the North Atlantic. During those first 3 glorious years in service, before the ecstasies of war and later competition with air transportation left their inedible marks, Ron Winter served aboard as a junior electrical engineer, and his authentic and often humorous account he recalls from his unique viewpoint the ship, her machinery, her complement of passengers and crew, and the rigors and rewards of serving aboard during her regular transatlantic crossings, offering an original insight into this famous and still immensely popular ship. That's basically about like what it says here in the front. Basically, yeah. It's right here. It says he describes him here with all the authority of personal experience. This is kind of like a memoir from this gentleman, and he's on the back of the cover here. Or if I can, I'll find a better picture of Mr. Winter, Mr. Ron Winter. Here. He's the gentleman on the left. That's his friend on the right, which would be another junior engineer by the name of John Rennie. But this book is a very in-depth look into the early years of the Queen Mary, from when she left, the Clyde on high tide to, the beginning of her maiden voyage to basically the first few years of service before World War II. And there is a lot of detail in this book. A lot of detail in this book that only somebody who has, and there's about 15 chapters total, roughly about 150 some odd pages, and he describes everything from the decorations and decor of the ship, the early days of the vessel, her crew. He talks about the maiden voyage. He talks about the passengers. He talks about life running the great ship. He talks about life afloat and also life ashore. He talks about some of the worst weather that he had ever seen, some of the worst storms the Mary was in, and the reason why they found out, oh, shit, the Queen Mary's a fucking roller. She'd go one way and stay, and then she'd come up again. She'd go this way, and then go this way. It's because she was like a weeble wobble. And that's what he said in this book. And he actually put it very, very carefully. Mr. Winter said she was a roller. She was bottom heavy. So when she would roll, she'd come up, and then she'd roll again because she's bottom heavy. So she would roll, and roll, and roll, until she would just back on the keel, and then another fucking wave hits her. Roll. Roll. And that's, of course, the reason why years later they added the Denny Brown fin stabilizers to her to fucking correct the roll. And I want to read a little excerpt from the book here, just to kind of give you an idea of what life was like aboard the Queen Mary. Right here. The Queen Mary certainly did have some vibration in the after part of the ship in bad weather, when the screws carrying up to 200,000 horsepower would tend to lift out of the water, but generally speaking, she gave you a smooth ride. And when she was not rolling, a trouble I will deal with in the chapter on bad weather. It is often difficult to believe that you are even at sea. Even in the after part of the ship, the vibration was considerably less than in the modern Isle of Wight ferries. Many of the teething troubles experienced were dealt with satisfactorily while at sea, but there were some that could only be tackled in port when the ship was practically shut down. So, talking about some of the mechanical issues of the Queen Mary. Well, I'll read a little bit here from the about when she was rolling here in bad weather. When the storm had subsided and we were sailing on a more or less even keel again, I was up on deck one evening with another engineer who had been at sea for many years, and we were discussing the rolling to which we had recently been subjected. He told me of an experience he had some years before on the Aquitania on a Mediterranean cruise. Apparently they had sailed past Cape Otranto into the Adriatic to be met suddenly by a very strong wind, which was falling down from the Alps. As this wind hit the Aquitania, she heeled over at an angle of 22 degrees, and caused some consternation aboard. I could see him now as he leaned on the rail and took his pipe out of his mouth to say, "I wouldn't like to be in this ship if she ever heeled at 22 degrees. Do you think she would come back?" I asked. "No," he replied. "I am certain she would capsize." But then again, it says here that in one storm, the Queen Mary rolled over to 44 degrees and she came back. So, it's definitely a very amazing insight into the history of this fabled ship with a lot of anecdotes. And here's a picture of Mr. Winter at sea off duty. And there's a lot of amazing photographs in here too. Not just of the inside of the ship, but pictures of the outside, pictures of the machinery that ran the ship, pictures of the interior. It's definitely a very classic book. And the end papers are actual deck plans of the Queen Mary. Let's see, the book was published by W.W. Norton, which was the successor of Patrick Stevens Limited, and this one was published in 1986. So, my thoughts on the Queen Mary, her early years, recalled by Mr. C.W.R.Winter. It is definitely a very exciting book. It's very informative, and there's a lot of fucking humor in it. He's got a lot of humorous insights into the runnings of this massive ship, and there was a lot of shit that I was very surprised about. It's definitely, very human, definitely very human about it. And even explains in the detail about sailors and stuff, why they call ships she's and stuff, and I liked his explanation if I could find it real quick. I don't want to run out of time here, but I'll read this last little part here if I can find it real quick. Then I will read it to you guys, what he said about ships being like women and stuff. Maybe it was, I don't remember what the fuck it was at. Okay, right here. Alright. Right here. Is this why a ship is invariably referred to as a she? It is, of course, men who have invested ships with femininity, and apart from the way in which a ship will care for and mother her crew, there is a strong resemblance between a ship and a woman in the capricious way she behaves. Every ship has her own individual way of behaving in a seaway. Some ride the waves serenely with the dignity of a dowager, while others frisk about in an almost wanton fashion. Some will wallow, others will plunge their heads into the oncoming waves as if trying to commit suicide, but all, without exception, are feminine. The Queen Mary is exceptionally good in a head sea, though occasionally she would put her nose into a moderate-sized wave with a crash that shook the very teeth in your head. I watched her do this one day in a bit of a blow, and each time a slightly larger one came over, she crashed into it as though it was the end of the world. Then an extra big brute turned up, and you braced yourself for a shock, but this never came. She just brushed it aside as though it did not exist. She didn't put her nose down into a comparatively small one, just to show you. This, illogically, is a very feminine trait, and is guaranteed to keep a man interested, whenever it is displayed by a ship or a woman. In fact, most men are suckers for this type of capricious behavior, and respond to it by producing a dog-like devotion, which is remarkably to behold. I suppose the explanation is that every man has a need to love and be loved, a need for work for someone rather than himself, a need for something or someone of which to be proud of. Not every man is lucky enough to have his ideal woman, but many men find a satisfactory sublation of this need by going to sea. So there you have it. I will definitely give this book a fucking 10, 5 out of 5, because, like I said, it is a very interesting insight into the early years of the Queen Mary, written by one of her crew members, the junior electrical engineer. It's definitely a must-read for anyone interested in ocean liners and anyone interested in this great lady here, the Queen Mary. It's definitely a must-have, a must-read for anyone interested, like I said. So there you have it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this fucking review. I'm tired as fuck. It's like after 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. Shit. Oh, damn. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below for me and I'll get back with you. And as always, if you're new to my channel and you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button and beat the fucking shit out of the notification bell. You'll never miss a video. So until next time, it is I, Commodore Irvin, the jack of all trades, with the foul mouth, of course, saying have smooth seas, clear skies, happy sailing with you, and God bless y'all, and stay safe. Until next time, so long.